Welcome to the Microsoft Security Insight Show. The show streams live at 5 every Wednesday evening on YouTube and Twitch and streamed directly into your ear the following Monday. Hosted by Edward Walton, Andrea Fisher, Rod Trent, and Brodie Cassell, the Microsoft Security Insight Show provides information, news, and tips on Microsoft security solutions.
Recorded December 21st, 2022. Ho, ho, ho! What is going on, Fred Claus? Brodie Heatmeister.
The Heatmeister.
Heatmeister.
You know, I have something serious before we get. I know this is going to be a lighthearted episode. I know that, and I'm absolutely going to enjoy this. Do have one thing that I would like to announce before we get moving along, because this is kind of a security show, right?
Sometimes
we did announce this week, and I'm sorry to bring everybody down, but that we're also, Microsoft Sentinel is also a leader in the Forrester Wave, as well as the Gartner Magic Quadrant. We announced that this week, so that's pretty good. Yeah, so
that's all thanks to you, Rod. That's all thanks to you and your promotion of the tool and the hardworking people behind the scenes. That's great.
There's a reason for it. I just don't think I'm part of that. So.
Oh, I think you are. You blow up Twitter like 12 times a day about Sentinel news, so that's got to help a little bit.
What? Yeah. Rod's on Twitter? Why am I not following Rod? Well, I'm not on Twitter, so.
Yeah.
Do you even know what Twitter is?
I do. I have an account I created a long time ago. I'm not even going to ask what have you guys been doing anything interesting at work. So we can
this week? Oh, heck no. There's no way. I'm sure Brodie has, because he stays busy. Me, I work really hard not to stay busy. So
yeah. I know you guys are just watching the stock price to retire, but some of us still have careers. So I have had to work a little bit this week. Actually, I refreshed my SC200 today. So that was sweet. Got that done.
Congrats.
I had to do that. And I had to put a ticket in. I was telling Frank today that I kept hitting submit. It didn't. Ticket says, hey, what browser? I said I'm using Firefox. Don't use Firefox. Use Edge.
Use Edge.
Clear your cookies. Go back. And I did it. And I took the test again. And, the little renewal. And it was almost all the same questions, right? And it says, congratulations, you renewed. And then right after that, it said, congratulations, you renewed your SC300. I'm like, I did that a while ago. What is that coming from?
Maybe you have the wrong credit card number. You might want to ask Frank about that.
I gave him your number.
Oh, well, it should have worked then.
Yeah, well, I want Frank's number. We see how that turns out. So I was going through my bag of goodies, and I didn't find a lump of coal. But I'm gonna give somebody something here. So before we go into the regular show, we're gonna break this show up. It's not gonna go true to form. We'll have guests popping in and out. I'd like to introduce our guests from shows of Christmas past or shows of the past. Ingrid Rodriguez is my guest. Thank you so much for coming on and agreeing to come on the show. This is your second time or third?
Second, and thank you so much for having me. Yeah,
I'm inviting her to the show. She never invites me. Come down to Puerto Rico and hang out. We can go to the beach and all that.
Yeah, let's have some Puerto Rican eggnog.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
How's that different than normal eggnog? By the way,
good question.
Well, first of all, it doesn't have eggs.
Oh, no huevos. Okay.
And a lot of Bacardi. Yeah.
Okay.
Just Bacardi. Okay, I got
it.
But the good Bacardi, not the stuff you export up here.
Mm-hmm, the good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a huge rum fan, Ingrid, so I love that. I love that. Yeah.
That was one of my first jobs, like right graduated from college, and I was in Puerto Rico, and I worked at the Bacardi as a tour guide. So yeah, I used to know a lot about them.
Nice.
I got a bottle of somebody gifted me a bottle of Bacardi 10-year.
Yeah.
It's actually, and I don't drink rum. I have zero. I don't know why I can't handle rum. Like I'll drink a gallon of bourbon and be like, oh, I'm good. I drink 2 ounces of rum. Like my wife's pouring me into bed. You embarrassed me in front of my boss. Like for sure. Yeah, I did. I didn't like him anyway.
I did see that. Yeah,
And
Yeah.
so Ingrid and I, to our listeners who have not had the pleasure of meeting Ingrid, Ingrid and I are peers of a sort. We work on dual teams. She is one of the top security compliance framework regulation. You're talking about compliance and data governance and data sovereignty and process. She's my
Yeah.
go-to, and it's I don't get to work with her much. It seems like you guys are so in
I
your own
know.
little thing, and
And we have to
sometimes
find a way now. Yeah, we definitely have to find a way now because between insider risk management and Sentinel, we can definitely make our conversations go together. So we got to make that work soon.
you have to say purview insider risk.
Purview insider risk.
Someone corrected me that when I was like, "What?" They're like, "Yeah, sure."
Yes.
Good stuff. I talked to a couple of your teammates over the last week. I didn't invite them, but I just wanted to catch up. There's no shout out. They were busy. So I talked to Natalie for a while last week,
Yeah.
and I always talk to Nancy.
Yes.
Yeah. She's always fussing that I never come see her or have beer with them. I'm in New York. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm so busy.
Yeah.
And she's newly met. Well, she's still a newlywed. I guess she is still a newlywed, right? So it's all that. But thank you for coming on.
Ingrid, other than trying to avoid Ed since you were on last time, what have you done since you were on last? Since this is your second time on, and this is like our last show for this year.
Yeah. So a lot has happened. I support the South and all LATAM, and a lot of great stuff are happening in LATAM as well. A lot of different privacy regulations showing up, like more strength in Brazil. And now in January, Chile is also joining the crowd with the privacy laws, as GDPR, CCPA, and all that kind of stuff. So working with partners, very closely to partners and getting them ready to support our customers with our solutions, our perfect compliance solutions. And, a lot of support, to the customers and deploying and making sure that they have proper implementations in place, like Ed was saying, the processes and the procedures, and then the tools to support that. So that's been a lot of our focus, this year. And it's going to continue, to H2 more so, right? So we're supporting our customers, of course, our field as they need to, but also our customers as they go and deploy our solutions. So it's been interesting. I came from Microsoft from, as a practitioner, right? Like all I did in my past life was enterprise risk and compliance management and, creating all these frameworks that it was talking about for the companies that I used to work. So to me, the fun part is to see them deployed and see them, growing within our solutions. And that journey is really a true satisfaction, right? Everything else is secondary, but seeing the customers happy with the solutions and working with our product groups to make them better is great. It's been great. So that's been the core, since we spoke last time. Yeah.
Cool. And so like super quick, like you mentioned a few country names there. Are they adopting the existing frameworks, or are they building their own countrywide privacy frameworks based on those frameworks, and then you're adhering to those new national privacy frameworks, privacy and compliance frameworks?
Yeah, that is a great question. So customers like in FSI, in the financial sector, like they're used to, being regulated and having to comply with laws and that kind of stuff. The medium and small customers have not had a requirement, to comply with all that. They're using, GDPR. Everybody's using GDPR as an example. Or if they're more on the government side or energy side, oil and gas, they're doing a lot of NIST too. So those that are more mature have combination of different stuff, right? Different regulations, different standards. The new ones are like, I just want to know what GDPR has been doing, and I want to adapt to that. So it's a good strategy, from their part, not knowing the field and not knowing like how is it that they have to report compliance or being through that regulatory scope, but I think it's part of their journey, right? Like they come from nothing to ramp up and being in front of the law, and having to report and go regulators visiting them and asking them questions. So it's amazing to be part of, help them, through that journey. It's good. So, but great question, because it's all over the place. Again, FSI, super mature. It's another one for them, right? But for the rest, it's a really learning curve, and their journey, to see their journey and adopting and using our solutions for that is good.
I think your teammate Nancy, she covers FSI, right?
Nancy covers FSI for the US, for the Americas. Yes.
Yeah,
I could see Nathan changed his name to GDPR uncompliant. I got a good shot out of that.
Well, it's because he has his hat ball on the other side.
Yeah, it's got to be something, right? Yeah, where's your data residency, Nathan? Yeah, totally. Hey, Ingrid, I know we're gonna get into everyone else's introductions and whatnot, but I would absolutely love it if you would come on. I kind of co-lead the LATAM security community, and we'd love to have you on as a speaker sometime in like March,
Sure.
April. Just any topic that you want. I'm not sure if you speak Spanish or Portuguese or both, but we'd love to have you on speaking your native language and talking to the community. That would be awesome.
Yeah, we'd love that. I think I did it in July. Maybe it was early this fiscal year, but happy to be there again. I speak Spanish, and the Portuguese, the Brazilians say that I understand Portuñol. So anything coming in Portuñol from them, it's good with me. But Spanish and English, I feel more confident.
You can get Priscilla to bone you up.
Oh yeah, I love Priscilla. I love our team. Yeah, they're all amazing.
Well, my guest has come on. I push all my chips in. Who's your guest, Brodie?
Well. By the way, it must be great for Rod to manage the yelling that you do into the microphone each and every episode before we go public. But I actually, and Nathan's my guest, but I emailed Vishal and he never got back to me. So I think he ghosted me.
I said I'd love to.
Oh, you did? Oh, then I didn't get the reply. I'm really bad at email, Vishal.
Well, it was from that kind of tip you guys had earlier. I think everything went to spam at that point. So
yeah, I think that's it. Well, then they're both my guests then. So take that, Edward. So
my guest didn't show up, and not yet. We'll see. I'm going to reach back out. So go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, Vishal, why don't you? Yeah, since you're off mute and I'm still laughing at GDPR uncompliant Santa over here. Why don't you go next? Tell us how you've been doing, what's new, and and
please take a moment to explain the whole theme you have going there, because I love it.
I love the bed sheets. My wife would love that. That's just fantastic.
It's my guest room.
It's like you disappeared. It's camouflage.
I love it.
That's great. That is super awesome.
Well, today I'm from Southern California, but today I'm doing this from Denver, where it's going to get -15 tomorrow, or today. I think it's going to get super cold. So I brought my jammies, and in the spirit of Christmas, I thought I'd wear my Christmas jammies and be, this is for someone on the federal side of the house. I figured this would be appropriate attire for my business casual today. So there's nothing outside of that going. Nothing weird happening here at all. I mean, just some Christmas spirit. I don't understand what the big deal is.
Yeah, I actually really want to order the jammies that you have. I think they look ultra comfortable, and it's -30 here, so I'm looking to stay warm as much.
I'll throw up some Amazon links here in a minute, maybe for.
I'll tell you, you gotta. I've been, I haven't taken any days off yet, but I plan on it here pretty soon, and super excited. So thanks for having me. So that's what's about my outfit. I mean, there's nothing special about it. This is just, I pulled it out of my closet, before we drove to Denver, so I had it specifically for today. I mean, primarily this is the apex of this outfit right now.
That's awesome. Hey, you want to give a shout out to your team, the federal team working there?
Yeah, I know. I heard Mr. Walton's name being buzzed around last week around the federal business. Is that a rumor? Is someone you talking to someone over there?
It is a Christmas episode. You can't lie.
So it's been great. I think some of the things we've been doing. So really big shout out to the entire federal business for the security compliance teams out there. Our business is doubled, since the last time we all spoke formally, or I don't know if this is actually formal, informally.
Super formal.
So we brought some great individuals and leaders into the federal business. Dennis Guzzi, who brought onto our sales and pursuit side of the house, and Lily Davudian, who now leads. Yep, I saw your eyes go up, Edward. Lily Davudian go up, and she now leads all of our technical folks, compliance folks, zero trust folks, security folks for all of federal defense. She came from the sovereign business of Microsoft.
TJ also left too, though, by the way.
Yeah, we're not talking about that one.
Okay.
Right? That
We're talking about the wins. Talking about the wins.
That one was a little close to the chest, So but with that being said, the federal business is amazing. But more importantly, I mean, so much has happened, right? Like the last time we jumped on, we had the executive order around cybersecurity. We had all these directives coming out. We had an amazing meeting just recently with the DoD CIO's office and other components of that office, as they're meeting with all the other organizations as well. One of the things that has come out from that's publicly available on their website is the 45 requirements around zero trust that they've publicly published, the 152 actions that get you all the way up there. And one of the things that we've been diligently working on in U.S. Federal, and Steve Fail, Hassan, Ian Leatherman, who we just brought on his 6-month mark yesterday, is aligning all of those activities to our zero trust story and how we look at zero trust. And what we realized, and I think this is really important, is when we looked at the U.S. government's zero trust alignment of how they are now defining zero trust versus how we've defined it in the past, is guess what? It's not so different. User devices, application workloads, network environment, automation, all of that stuff aligns to identities, device, network, infrastructure, apps. Like, I mean, all of it's there. So those 7 pillars that they align to are totally aligned to what we're doing and how we map not just our capabilities, but how we run all of that in Azure, and how zero trust is in the moment. It's constantly evolving. It's constantly checked against. So you can't just deploy products. You have to be able to utilize Sentinel. You have to be able to utilize some of those things in conjunction to keep yourself ongoing and concurrent with zero trust. And enabling people with KQL is a big thing. And I'm going to put a big shout out to Steve Fail, who's challenged me on something that I'm going to be working on recently. I've failed to keep up with them so far. I'm a little, but Kuso Detective Agency, I'm the lone recruit there. Like I just keep falling behind every time I move, and everyone's finished that. But I mean, I've been doing some fun things like that too. So it's been pretty amazing. And I think it shows, like, no matter who you are at Microsoft, whether it's me or whether it's our leaders or whether it's our specialists or technical specialists or our customers, like, learning is constant, and keeping sharp is constant, and you have to keep it fun, and I'm confident that this outfit is going to, get me to that next level in Kuso Detective Agency without me having to do any work, right? Like, you just got to put all that stuff together to get you that next step. But yeah, that's what I've been working on, man. It's been simply amazing. Oh, I'm going to take up another second.
Absolutely.
So I was working with the George W. Bush Institute over the last year as a presidential scholar. And one of the things that we presented to the administration and their staff there and some decision makers in the room was the importance of cyber resiliency, data privacy, and compliance around the nonprofit space. And the number 2 most targeted sector behind U.S. government. And was talking to General Linnington, who, one of the head generals of the U.S. Army, now CEO of the Wounded Warrior Project. And we're talking about it's not just good enough for an organization to love using our product. And I think Ingrid alluded to this actually earlier, and I love the fact that she said it was they have to enjoy it, and they have to understand how it affects their industry. They have to understand how to implement it in. And with the nonprofit side, these are organizations that aren't monetarily driven, right? And they're at risk. The UN, right? Like Team Rubicon, the Wounded Warrior Project, all these folks. And we've noticed the nonprofit organizations take a proactive stance around automating SecOps and finding easier ways to utilize tools like Sentinel or MSSP services or MDR services in an automated sense to protect their end users and their mission, right? Because they're not in the business of making money, but they need to protect the user data of people that they're protecting, that they're fighting for, that they're building missions against in foreign countries and sovereign lands. So there's organizations like Patriot Consulting that have just partnered with the Ainsley's Angels and brought them to the cloud and hardened their Office 365 tenant. There's Conquest Cyber, who's got an armed ATK platform that automates SecOps that essentially makes it so that maybe you don't have to learn KQL if you have a revolving door. Everyone should learn KQL, right?
Of course.
Right. So, but those are what we're seeing, and it's super exciting because these nonprofits are taking security seriously so that they can go do more good. And I was about to curse. I freaking love that. Right. Because what they're doing is they're taking impact seriously, and they know the threats are coming from somewhere else, and they're not going to let nation state actors affect the way they do good around the world. So I wanted to mention that. And that's been great collaboration across all of Microsoft and our partners and externally. And that's in collaboration with like FSI, with Federal, with Justice Spellog's work, Prio, and Sarah VS over there. I mean, it's been amazing. So I thought I've been working on that a little bit as well. And that was probably the most exciting call out, right? That I wanted to make sure everyone here knew that's listening. Like, if you want to give a gift to a nonprofit on the technical side, reach out and see how you can help them. Because there's one technical person for every 250 members of a nonprofit. Think about that.
Yeah, nonprofit is one of those things that sticks close to me, Vishal. I think I mentioned it to you, especially like they're number two, behind SMB, right? But I understand, and nonprofits are particularly, targeted of a sort because they were in a distributed model way before everybody had COVID and had to go work from home, because a lot of times people are doing the work for little or nothing, and so you have to get that volunteerism wherever it is. They may not be in DC, they may not be here, they may do this. So, but some of the best innovation comes to listen to those who have to make something happen when they don't have it. So they get very creative, right, about the monies that they have, the technology, the type of people. So good shout out to that.
Yeah, you gotta love what you do when you're there, right? It's more about the mission than anything else. So,
you gave me chills, Vishal. I mean, you gave me chills because I came to Microsoft from a nonprofit for 5 years, and what I did was starting everything from scratch. Just everything that you mentioned, I went through, and it's truly amazing. How the mission, like you say, is key. The donors, the volunteers, and to me, it's like a reputational risk, right? Like, my responsibility in cyber security and risk management and compliance was like, I got to make sure that I protect the donors' information, the volunteers' information, so we get that coming. So our beneficiaries, it was the American Heart Association where I worked, right? Yeah. So it was critical, right? We're talking about people's life for real.
Yeah, how many nonprofits are responsible for compliance? Like, they don't need to be GDPR compliant for the most part. They don't need to be compliant in any sort. There's no regulation for 99.9% of nonprofits. But when General Livingston was sitting there at the Bush Center with everyone else, and I walked up to him and with the other two, and I said, are you doing everything in your power to protect the data, the sovereignty of your people? Like, in every decision-making process, like, what if I was to tell you in 60 seconds, we could take your mission, your life's work away, your ability to make an impact to others? And I think, and he got it. Like, I didn't have to tell him that, but he called us on Monday, and, we went and we met with them, and they realized, like, wow, we have majority of EMS. Like, what else do we need to be doing? And we said, it's not just about owning the license. It's automating it so that your people don't have to manage it. And then don't worry about just the product. Like, how are you making the lives of these wounded warriors more resilient and effective by not having to worry about this? And I mean, I love the mission of Tech for Social Impact and Microsoft Philanthropies. I think all of us in the private sector and in the government sector can learn a lot about how those individuals run their businesses, but run the impact and what they do in their lives, right? And security is now just the forefront of it, and being the second most targeted vector in the world. I mean, we published that in the Microsoft Digital Defense Report. It got more this year. Like, it's something to not bat your eyes on about, right? Especially around like UN and Ukraine, everything happening recently, like they're involved. Yeah. So I'll stop taking up all the hot air. This is
you're not. You bring up and Ingrid as well. You bring up just amazing points, and nothing gets. One of the reasons why I love being in this industry, in this field, is like as soon as you brought it up, like foreign nation-backed actors affecting domestic nonprofits. Like nothing gets me more upset than listening to something like that. Right? That we can have these entities that are doing so much good for local and national reasons across the board, trying to help people, right? And then, I actually didn't know they were the second most targeted entity. It just reaffirms like why we're here, and what the impact that we can have.
Yeah, they're not nice people, and that's absolutely evidence, right? Who they target and what they're trying to get, right? So
yeah. No doubt. Well, hats off to both of you. Maybe not
all of us. I mean, everybody, even everyone that's listening. Like, everyone's making an impact, whether they know it or not. That's the one thing I realize as someone that that leads the defense federal security business here at Microsoft. You realize that my is affected by the UN, is affected by these nonprofits. There's leaders that move out in there, and we have to cross-pollinate around a community. And Ann Johnson said it best in many different facets. Is you have to look at a problem with a diverse lens and differently to be able to solve it. You can't just engineer your way out of it. And that's the collaboration we see in this community, and not just here at Microsoft, but everywhere else, like those partners I mentioned, So yeah, it's amazing. And again, if I have one ask on this call for everyone that's listening and all of you is find a 501c3 that you're passionate about. And instead of just giving money, go ask them, how can I use my superpower in the security community to help you?
I love that.
Yep.
Great shout out. Thank you. The outfit, the bed sheets, and the message, Vishal, it's great to have
you. The only thing
I
forgot was my back scratcher back in San Diego. And I was
going to ask about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
if I get invited to another show, I will have it.
You're invited. I'd say you're invited again. Absolutely.
So Vishal, if you're that kid getting ready to go to bed, waiting for Santa Claus to show up, that's what you look like, right? You're like, man, I can't wait to get to bed. My present.
Hopefully he brings me some beer. There's a bottle opener in this one. See?
Hey, it's attached. Then you can't lose it.
That might be better than a back scratcher. We actually have the real Santa Claus. We actually have the real Santa Claus with us tonight.
What's this, Rod? Bottle opener on my back scratcher.
Watch
out, bud. Watch out. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. Okay, now we've been talking, and Santa Claus has been here the entire time.
He's actual to see if,
Santa Claus representing the Northern Front. Santa, how are you? It's so good to have you on the show. Tell us how everything's going, and we'd love to hear about how you miraculously get everybody their gift on time. You must be using the power of the cloud.
Yes, the power of the cloud for sure. Hey everyone. This morning I woke up, some elves were trimming my beard. It's no longer long enough, but no, seriously though, happy to be on the show. I go by the handle Swift Solves, but the name's really Nathan Swift, and I work as a security cloud solution architect here at Microsoft, actually in the South OU that Ingrid helps support through a lot of the compliance initiatives. So just doing some amazing work throughout our accounts there. But yeah, just happy to be here. Happy to kind of reconnect with folks, see some of y'all. Probably been too long for sure.
Yeah, it's been a while. What have you been up to? Anything you can share, or is it all super secret?
No, nothing super secret, right? I think at the beginning of the year, right, like typical Microsoft, to kind of reorganize some of the things that are responsibilities and some organizational units. But I spent the good part of the first half of our fiscal year, which is in July, just kind of studying up. All of a sudden, I focused a lot on Azure security, right? Sentinel and Defender for Cloud. And then was handed some additional responsibilities to start talking with our customers, helping them deploy and use and leverage Defender for Endpoint, Defender for Office 365, Azure Active Directory Identity Protection. So all of a sudden, the technologies that I was kind of responsible for talking with customers with kind of like tripled. But I've spent quite a bit of time just kind of researching and learning up on that. But then, it's typically when I was brought on a couple months, about a year or so back, right? Still passionate about security automation. So anything that I can automate, any problem that I hear customers say once, twice, okay, Let's start trying to automate that using a Logic app, PowerShell, maybe wrap it into an Azure function. Let's just try to automate that away and help kind of speed up some processes that you might have in your organization. So with that, I've been working on different kind of automations, whether with gray noise and using it in Microsoft Sentinel to basically look for CVEs and vulnerabilities you have in your environment from Defender for Endpoint that are registered in VMs. And then looking out on the internet, right, for gray noises, sensors as they're hearing or listening and finding out threat actors pinging their sensors. They do threat intelligence and tag those IP addresses with known CVE vulnerabilities. So they're listening, right? And they'll say, hey, the way this bot or the script or whatever hit my sensor and is looking for certain string parameters or looking for certain things, that's actually a CVE vulnerability this bot or this thing's trying to test. So I built an automation basically to say, hey, what are your vulnerabilities out there? What are the vulnerabilities that are found in the last 7 days of gray noise? And let's download a watch list of those public IPs that gray noise is hearing based on the CVEs you have in your environment. And let's then create a rule to just say, hey, if this IP address is found in the watch list in any of your network logs, go ahead and generate an alert. Now, that alert might be low level because it may be a bot scanning your web app firewall or something like that, but it's still good to kind of know about your CVEs, tying them together with network traffic, with the threat intelligence that gray noise is providing for your sensors. So that was kind of like a major one that's in there. It still hasn't been fully pulled, but it's in a pull request status.
Oh, is it? So is it potentially on your repository and just waiting to be uploaded to the primary repository then? Or?
Yeah, it's not. I didn't post it to my repository. I went directly to Sentinel's repository. I will say, right, the Sentinel like GitHub, the content team's gotten a lot sharper. So like when I went and made that pull request, I came back with like 18 different like suggestions, right? Like, hey, you misspelled this word, or this. Yeah. We need to have some more tags in your categories for this Logic app. So it's cool seeing the maturity of the content being sent to Sentinel, and that content team kind of not necessarily being gatekeepers, but just making sure the content is up to spec. So when our customers go there, they can kind of see, hey, there's no misspellings. This stuff's a lot more identifiable, taggable, filterable as you're looking for automations and playbooks to use with Microsoft Sentinel.
Well, imagine that. We've been professing for 2.5 years that everything in our GitHub repository has been vetted and approved, and so now it is. So it's good.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Hey, have you been working with the external attack surface reduction or the threat intel components from recently there, Nathan?
No, I really hope to probably sink my teeth into that this winter. The next week or so, I'm going to probably just think about some projects I want to work on or things I want to integrate with. But no, I haven't worked with those products. I'm aware of them, but like I said, I've just been focused so much on like even to the minutia of building like project plans for like Defender for Cloud or Defender for Servers pilot deployments, right? Here's a project plan. You're going to do X, Y, Z, D, E, F in this phase of assessing, remediating, and then like validating, right? And so even silly stuff like running project plans. Thanks for putting that up there, Rod. So that's a GitHub repository. I just kind of work on different stuff. Logic apps. The other thing I've been getting into is a lot like with what they call machine configuration now, but it used to be guest configuration on Azure policies. And so just, again, tweaking inner OS and trying to automate or declaratively set things in Windows servers to help solve problems right at scale as we're onboarding these servers or as customers are migrating servers to the cloud.
And this is different from inside Azure, like decide state configuration. This is taking a template and applying the policies or checking against it.
Yeah, it starts with authoring it in a desired state configuration template in PowerShell. Okay. and then it's wrapped with Azure policy and scaled at Azure policy scale so that you can target thousands, hundreds of servers that match that, and then push that DSC via Azure policy. So you start thinking about, oh, well, I got to Arc connect these servers from on-prem to get Defender for Endpoint, but maybe I need to update the attack surface rules, or maybe I need to change some settings in antivirus. Well, I want to do this at scale, so machine configuration using DSC, authoring in DSC, but you really using Azure policy to push it. Those Arc connected servers is pretty powerful. So I've been working a little bit with that, getting myself familiar.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
I'm working on a project right now, and I didn't know you could do that. I was wondering how we manage ASR rules, etc., at scale for a Defender for Servers Plan 1. And I heard it was a little kludgy, so I was looking into this.
Yeah. I'm running into some problems right now authoring it in DSC, trying to get some of the commandlets to work from the Defender module, the Windows Defender module for AV. So once I get some of that ironed out, I'll probably have something out on that GitHub kind of showing how to do ASR rules at scale using Azure policy.
Okay. Because what's the recommended way of managing that right now? Like, I heard you can onboard servers with Intune to manage that type of rule set. Why isn't that just built into Defender for Cloud as it is in terms of managing that and pushing that down? Is that something that's coming? Have you heard about that? It seems like it should just be there alongside everything else in terms of managing this infrastructure at scale.
Yeah, so they use we kind of use the different products that we have at Microsoft. So, well, we have Defender for Cloud pushing Defender for Servers. We have Defender for Endpoint, which goes on to those servers, which actually Azure AD joins the servers. And we have a third product, right, called Intune. And Intune is where we can set the AV policies and AV exclusion policies and push those to the servers that are now Azure AD joined. So it's like really like three clouds that are kind of working together to kind of give you a full enterprise experience. But I can't really reveal, like, because this is a public forum, but I suspect there'll probably be some enhancements to the way that you can use Intune with servers in the future at some point. I'll just leave it at that. That will kind of make all this stuff, not needed.
Right.
Uh-oh. So
we have another guest.
We have two guests, maybe. No, it's one guest. I can't tell. So we and I don't believe.
I think you finished your drink.
Yeah.
I had the sneezies all of a sudden. I know you guys saw me. I was like, God, they had sneezies. So I won't sit here and say that the person that's on this is a real person. It may be a bot, but I have some very qualifying questions to see if it's a bot or not. Right. So welcome to the Microsoft Security Insight Show, Shell Bot. You want to how are you doing today?
Thank you. Can I get a little thing that I check, a little CAPTCHA, please?
Yeah. Or can you identify all of the crosswalks in this image of 6?
Yes, or all of the traffic lights.
Yes, that'd be great.
I put something here. Pick all the bars you've thrown up in or getting thrown out of. Let's see you choose the right one, right? Hello, Michelle. How are you doing?
Hello. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you making. I know you're super busy out there in the Wild Wild West. So to our listeners, Michelle Jackman is a returning guest. She is a cloud solution architect - security. She used to be a coworker of mine or team member of mine. She's at Microsoft, and any and all things that are around cloud security and Azure security, that's her thing. She does have a partner in crime. We didn't invite him. He a troublemaker, right?
Why didn't we invite Tom?
We'll get Tom on later. We want you on. So we done the round robin about what you've done this year. What is your just anything you want to talk about cybersecurity this year? What's your passion? We sort of talked about it a little bit when did we talk? This week? Last week? I forget.
What's today?
Wednesday.
I don't know.
The day after yesterday.
How did be last weekend?
Beer day. So what's going on, Miss Jackman?
Oh man, I can't believe I missed. Hi, Ingrid. I was on Ingrid's team too.
It's so great to see you, Michelle.
It's good to see you too. Yeah, I missed what cybersecurity's meant to everyone this year. I would say
we haven't done that yet, so you're free and clear.
What are we talking about right now? What am I supposed to be?
What have you been doing since we saw you last? I think.
Man.
Yeah.
What haven't I been doing?
Okay, let's start there.
Getting a break from email,
Yeah, let's see. I moved to the field for a while where I was director of customer success account managers, and we were supposed to, focus in on cybersecurity and cloud security, but it was everything, cloud and cloud security and every other thing like that. And now I've moved into the corporate CSU on the tech strategy team, where we focus in on cloud security adoption and E5 usage, and just making sure that whatever our customers have already purchased, that they understand what they have, how they use it, how they can use it more. And to go back to a comment that I believe Fred Claus made, instead of doing more with less, doing more with what you have. So really,
so you and I need to talk. I'm glad you saw that. So that's a hot button topic for the new year. You and I need to work together. So
cool.
Okay.
Sounds bueno.
Send that up to Satya. Get that in for the 2023 saying.
Someone that will be a guest in February has that message. So
excellent. That's good. That's good.
No spoilers.
So Shellbot, are we going to get an E7 one day? Everybody wants to know. There's been so much add-on. Vishal's just shaking his head. Everyone knows what I'm talking about here. But I love getting.
We only do the odd numbers.
You're right.
So.
So maybe that's great. You're helping every customer out there where possible.
And we won't go past 10 like Windows, right? So, sorry, we're at 11.
Then it'll get a new name. Then we got to rebrand it all. Yeah, for sure. And then hopefully we can deprecate some of them, eventually. And
listen, every time we change the name, you're making it incrementally harder for our government customers to.
Oh boy, yeah.
It's harder for everybody. It's harder for everyone internally. It's harder for partners that we're trying to get up to speed in security, and it's harder for our customers. And as a former customer and as a person who works with customers, like I was just saying, like with Azure Security, when I started, it was Azure Security Center, and then it was Azure Defender, and now it's Microsoft Defender for Cloud. And I'm like, this is 3 times in 3 years. And that's just one product that we're talking about.
Yeah.
I just want it to be EMS XP, or like, something, we could call it EMS Brodie. Like,
sure.
As
long as we stick with it for 5 years, right? Then it's good. At least
6, because it takes 3 years for us in the federal side to budget for it, and it has to stay on the same contract vehicle. So, at least keep it 6 years. Let's just do that.
Okay.
Yeah, but then we're gonna have to, all of these marketing people or whoever comes up with the new names, they're gonna, have a hard time keeping job security if we don't let them just like make new names all the time.
Well, that's true. My son is a writer, right? He does like SEO and stuff like that. I told him the best job in the world would be this person that comes up with new names for things like all these drugs. I don't know how people how they're so creative. They come up with these drug names, right?
That's true.
That's awesome. That is a job.
Oh my God. And I probably turn on a US TV station and it's like Zyboflexion. It'll solve all your problems, but also give you all these other problems. And you're like, okay,
should I do it or should I not?
Yeah.
It's like the pack of cigarettes. You pick the pack that doesn't have the thing you don't want, right? I'm not going to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want anal bleeding. I'm going to choose this one. So.
Nobody wants that, so let's choose the other ones. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Rod, for the image. That's great. Yeah.
That's actually one of them. That's
if there's a reel, Rod would go off it in a minute, right?
I can no longer run for office after being on this podcast.
I know I can't run for office. So Ingrid, as we get through and close out 2022, what what are some things that you would like to see from the technology that you work with, or what are you excited to do with it? I mean, purview is like this deep
Oh boy.
and this wide, right? Everywhere. It's just so it's not like this and that. It's like, what is it? I mean, what do you think that they could capitalize on that's built into the product, and what would you like to see them? When I say them, I mean the product team, Microsoft, whatever, do better in the product because you believe that there is a missed opportunity if they don't do this.
I think that's a great question. I think, we have great communication, all the different parts of products within purview compliance. We have great communications with the engineering team and the product groups. We give all the feedback that we get from our customers, and we provide that to them. So the communication there is amazing. And there has been some investment, based on that feedback. So that's great. To me personally, and I'm glad Michelle's here and knowing now where she's living right now, maybe this is interesting. We would like to talk, but to me, the consumption side is critical, right? Because I live for the journey of the customer, because I was a customer. So I want to see the customer to adopt what we have, what we offer, the vision that Microsoft has for all our solutions, security and compliance, and see them succeed with it, right? And not only just get one product, but let's just think about the power of the platform, everything that Microsoft offers, how, like you and I were talking earlier, like how we can integrate some of our products with your side of the house and give all that full picture or better picture to the customer and not let them just figure it out by themselves. I mean, I think that's something that I'm truly passionate about, because again, I was a customer and I had to figure things, sometimes manually, sometimes automatically, but not seeing the, it's a little bit frustrating to me, not seeing the value of, maybe invest in some of those areas like on consumption and, adoption for compliance, because we're doing a lot of our work with our customers, on the pre-sale side to, define what that journey looks like and how we can get them up to speed. And then seeing, that 2-3 years later, the customer potentially has not, fully utilized the entire set of products. So that, to me, I'm super passionate about that. And my managers, everybody knows, like, I'm out there with the customer, and sometimes I even get in trouble for spending too much time post sale with my customers. But it's because I've been there and done it, and sometimes it's hard for me to detach and just let them be, right? So Michelle, if you have anything, any recommendations on that side for us in compliance, I know it's a big topic, not only me, but that's something that really I think we should, pay a little bit more attention on that, or make sure that we have, a full set of partners ready to support customers post sale. I mean, however that looks like, but just to make sure that our customers, are in the journey and we are right there still with them, even after our part of the logical workload looks like, but along with them, right? I mean, I know my peers are, like me, we're super passionate about our customers. We work very hard to define those use cases and whatever. We want to see them succeed. And that's the part that sometimes we don't have visibility. And for those that we do, is because they come back and they're like, well, I might consider something else because what I have, I don't know how to use it yet. So, and that's, yeah.
And that's wasteful. That's huge. That's the thing that I've heard most recently. I've seen customers that have E3 or have E5, and they go out and buy something else to do a job that they already have something that exists in what they already pay for, and they just don't realize it. Right? It's just, that's wasteful, particularly when we talk about, the global economy the way it is. We're trying at Microsoft, we're kind of focused on this do more with less, but it really should be, like I said, do more with what you have already.
Of course. And then that process side, Ed mentioned it, like, I'm that person, where's the process? Where's the people? And then we bring the products, to mitigate risk, right? So I don't know, we need to kind of course, it depends on the maturity of the customers, etc. But we gotta, from a Microsoft perspective, the technology part, of course, that's our focus. But there's some parts that had to happen before the technology comes in that we have to make sure that are in place for the customer, so they can really see the success within the solutions. Otherwise, they're going to see it as some alerts here and there, and I really don't understand what it's trying to do, right? So, but yeah, great question. Thank you. And Michelle, I'm here whenever we can talk.
Wow, Michelle's going to be extra busy in the new year. I can see that.
Yes, talk about job security and exciting things to work on. And I think that's what's great about one of the things I love about a job is working with awesome people. So Ingrid and Rod, and having fun and solving real problems, right? Because these are issues that we see across the board. And Ingrid, what's interesting is from our, we're really tied in, like we're the voice of the field and the customer to executive leadership and PG from the customer success unit side of things. And compliance has been coming down a whole bunch more from the LT, the leadership team. And do we have set aside one of our areas, because we're kind of focused, divided into the technical product areas, and dedicate solely to compliance instead of just as it comes up, because it's coming up more and more from leadership and therefore our customers, because they're all executive sponsored accounts. So it's becoming a bigger and bigger deal to us. So I would love to have the chat with you and then figure out how we get, whoever we need to from whether it's your leadership and my leadership or whatever, talking to understand those perspectives and how important it is and what we can do. And the other thing I would add is that our team, while we're the tech strategy arm of the corporate CSU, my specific side of my team is called the Tiger team. And, in classic Microsoft terminology, that's a cross solution, cross product, cross functional area. And so even though we're one team, the idea is that we're working cross org to solve problems. So I think there's some interesting things that we could do there.
Yeah. And I think the bottom line here is I think you talked about it earlier. Brodie put that up, people, processes, and technology. I think there's a lot of things that we as Microsoft can do for our customers a lot better than I think.
Yes.
I mean, we want to do that. I think we honestly want to do that, but I think there's a lot of opportunity to do even a much better job, because I think customers are more receptive to it now. So I think that's kind of the bottom line. We just have to figure out how we can help our customers better.
Yeah. I find myself being able to have more success when I can come in and help achieve a mission or initiative rather than trying to solve a spot problem. And a lot of times the lack of consumption of the entire E5, the security side of it anyway, it's because, they own it, but they may not have a problem that this thing can fix. And since they don't have a problem, they're not focused on it. And when you can go to frameworks, regulations, control sets, then you have a mission that looks like a problem, but it's a goal, and then you can bring the things in to do it. Consumption is still a huge issue of this SKU that they have. And I think the siloism of security teams bleeding over from non-security as well as other security groups is probably one of the main reasons that you have people go, why did you buy that? We already have this capability in this, $50 license that we've just bought across 10,000 people. And that's because they're trying to solve a problem rather than trying to achieve a mission statement or initiative, right? Military people get this, right? Give me the mission and then I'll go get the tools to achieve the mission, rather than get the tools and then try to find a problem to use these things against, right? And that's what I love about security and compliance. The regulation drives me crazy sometimes, but when you look at it, it's like, okay, because I've spent more time this year in the new and the old compliance manager, and that tool is so powerful. How many people even know it's just go to Service Trust, you can pull these things down. It'll give you, a mission. And I asked the customer this, and I think the salesperson, and I hope he's listening on the call. I had a customer and I'm like, what's your mission statement? He said, well, we just want to be more secure than we were yesterday. Okay. Unplug your firewall and router from the internet.
Well, then the next day you have nothing left to do. So,
I said, he said, well, that's a draconian way. That makes no sense. You would kill my line of business. And so whatever else. I was like, okay, put in the wrong tool or put it in without understanding the end game, and you're essentially going to do the same thing. You'll still be able to have connectivity and do the things that look like it, but you're going to lose confidence in the people who are not in IT. Like, here we go. Security is messing it up again. I can't get payroll out. It's end of year. Now I got to do 5 processes before I can just do this thing that I used to take. And that leads to shadow IT. Like, I'm going to use my own tools. I'm not using this.
So I'm gonna get in there a little bit. One of the things we don't have a luxury of right on the federal side is you can't say just go use your entire platform. You can't just say go use all of E5. I mean, even if I look at Microsoft Defender for Cloud, right, pieces like Qualys aren't available, right, on the sovereign side of the house, right? So when we look at pricing and look at other things, that's just a non-starter for half of our business. So the other thing that I'm very grateful for this year is our ability to invest in ISVs and partners outside of Microsoft. And I mean that very, very transparently, and not just, hey, we have partners, we have great partners, but we forged a relationship this year with Tenable, right? Even Tanium in certain aspects, right? Even Splunk in certain aspects, right? And for us on the federal side, what's really helped us, especially as we look at the 152 activities around zero trust, what the 45 different ones that are going to get them there, is sometimes the customer has to look at it from a tooling perspective. Sometimes the customer has to look at it from a product perspective. And where I found our teams are not just successful, but more impactful, is we're learning about those competitive products. We're learning about those things, and we're turning them from being competitive to, well, how do we open up our platform to partner with that? And for us to learn about, there's inherent load, right, on the infrastructure for some of our customers in using Tanium, right? But when we look at Tanium versus maybe our organic features and what we do, right, with an MDE and some of those other things, we look at the contract fee. We say, what does this do? The patching capability alone, okay, I see why you're doing this, right? But let us learn how you're doing it. Let us work with you and the people, and maybe over time we'll help you understand how we do it. But it's equally as important for us to understand what those tool sets are, not to take them out, but to enable them now, right, to make them more secure. So why bring that up, Edward? Is like, I love like this whole platform approach and get on a platform and learn it and all that. And I think that's valid, and I think that's awesome. Like, I agree with it. I think it's even better as a Microsoft community as a whole, how we are forging those unconventional partnerships with ISVs to meet the customers literally where they're at. And I think that's what Michelle Bot was saying earlier, is like, what do you own, right? Like, where can we do right now? You may have all the things that Microsoft doesn't have. Well, we have Sentinel. We have this log analytics platform, right? We have the way we do storage is different, and I think that's what's really allowed us to build trust at the highest levels of government, is not sell them a product, but understand what they already own and how we can better learn from that, right? And that's why you look at the DoD CIO office, they didn't use our zero trust pillars. They created their own. And the validation happened when they created it, and it looked very similar to the way we do it, right? So it wasn't that we're speaking different languages, and we came to the same conclusion because we were looking at the same data set, and they invited us to look at theirs. We invited them to look at ours, vice versa. And I think that cross collaboration with our customers and not having to worry about products and services and learn from how they're doing it has allowed us to grow as an organization. That goes a lot to our acquisitions, Risk IQ, right? Like CyberX 2 years ago, things like that. We're actually going to industry to bring these best of breed, best platform products in, because we're learning that, hey, we can't just build it, right? Half the time we have to go invest and learn how they're doing it. So I love that. I love the holistic approach, but I think it's a suitable call out to share that the power of our platform is not just to have it, is to actually open it up to make it accessible and receptive to others.
Love that. I love that. Cooperation.
Sorry, Brodie.
Go ahead, Michelle.
After you, Shell.
Oh, thank you. No, I think that's a huge call out in beating customers where they're at, and the way that, we've had to evolve as a business where, we are partnering with the customers. We're not just selling and telling, right? We're not just pitching a product. It is about their business outcomes, their security outcomes, and partnering with them, listening to them, and seeing what it is. Do they really need? What are their pain points? What can we help them with along their journey, right? And it's a journey together. It's not just about the short-term immediate needs. It's the long-term things too. So I think that's huge. And when we talk about like using what you already have, a lot of it is education and awareness. Like,
Right.
do you know Microsoft has this? Do you know you own this? Do you know your CISO bought this? And you know, you guys are, you know, haters of this, but let me talk to you about it a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, it goes back to sometimes the folks in the trenches feel that they were not part of the decision-making process. They were told, do it, and you do it, right? And a lot of times, you know, effective leaders don't understand that, you know, there's a sense of pride, you know, anxiety, apprehension, and ego. Like, I spent all my years doing good at this, and now you want me to do this, rather than making them part of the process.
They made an investment. They made an investment in it, right? Like, who are we to go in there and say the decisions you made were wrong, right? I think what I just heard is, like, I love the approach that our teams are taking is educate, right? Like, learn at the ground user level. Ian Leatherman just came over here from the Navy. It's intricately involved in a thing called flank speed. And instead of working with DoD CIO and U.S. Navy CIO right up front, Ian was on the floor, on the ground floor, and educating the threat hunters and the folks on the ground, saying, hey, we just moved into COVID. Let's deploy MDE. I don't care if we have anything else. We just need to get visibility of what is out there, right? Let's just grab all that stuff in. Let's get visibility. And the only people to do that, we're able to do that. Let me teach you how we can do that by just a flip of the switch. And by teaching them, like, they realized over a couple of times, like, hey, there are products that do this, but we're actually getting stuff here that we've never seen before, and this was really easy. And that ground swell of operators bubbled its way up to the highest levels of the DoD government and said, you can make whatever decision you want, but we've learned and we've invested in something that's actually protected us against nation state attacks that we wouldn't have in the first place. That came from education as the forefront. So I love that. I mean, it's the ground level. And who are we to tell them that they made the wrong investment 2 years ago? I think we're now, hey, things are evolving. Let's educate you what we have now.
Well, I think we have a lot to learn from our customers, right? So there's one side of it that's partnering, right? And that's more CISO, CTO, CEO, whatever. But then there's also the peering piece, right? Where we actually come alongside and we learn about their environment while we, you know, try to teach them about how we can help.
That's our CSU right there, right? Our customer success teams. That's what their mission is.
What has happened though is, yes, I still do believe Microsoft before the pandemic was one of the better educating security software companies. Two things have to happen, right? We finally got to get off under the haze of the pandemic in some form or fashion. And it doesn't help that the economy is slowing down. And where I'm going with that is that I used to see this so effectively of getting customers to understand, hey, let's help you do more with what you have and all these things, because we can't get together in person anymore. There is no budget. We're not having these conferences. You know, I used to have unlimited. I could just drive it to the customer and say, hey, what are you guys doing Friday? I'm bringing lunch. Let's sit down and have a roadmap. Let's sit and have an education session. And now I'm burnt out. I don't want Slack. I don't want Teams. I don't want Zooms. I don't want Java. I don't want WebEx. I don't want any of that. Right. And because you're not getting that person's attention when you think they're watching this. They put you on the screen and they're doing their day job.
Yeah, that's fair. Absolutely. That's fair.
Doing their day job.
Yeah, I think I have a question.
Sure.
If you could only pick one or the other, okay? It's one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
We can start with Brodie. Are we a cloud company or are we a security company?
Security.
What about Fred?
Fred says we're a cloud security company.
Oh, you can't do that. No.
But I can.
No, it's your show. You're allowed to. Yeah, I think I don't know if anyone else has an opinion. I think we're a cloud company.
I would say, we're more than a cloud company, right? We're a technology company that does all kinds of shit. And then we are a major cloud service provider that, in recent years has really, I think we are a cybersecurity company, but I think our primary business is cloud, right? When you look at what our security is around, sure, we're looking at being able to secure more than just Microsoft, but where do we focus in on Microsoft customers? Our cloud security business, is focused in on Azure, even if we can pivot into others. Sure, we're multi-cloud, but are we really multi-cloud as far as the customers are concerned? I don't mean with technical capabilities.
I look at the end state, right? Are we trying to, as a security company, we're making investments in security, but is the end state to be the most secure? Is the end state to enable the mission of the organization to operate in the cloud securely, right? So in my mind, innovation in cloud is the end goal. There's no wrong answer here.
I think we're a cloud company, but identifying the gaps that we identified early on in the cloud and other, multi.
Yeah, we've been innovating. We've come a long way.
We rose to the challenge, and we are now kind of a security company because we had to do that.
Yeah, we're not in the BPOS space anymore.
We're not in the BPOS days. Golly, I don't pull it BPOS.
Santa, what do you think? Hold on, we're just Santa came off mute there.
I want to hear Metaverse and Ingrid.
Yeah, let's go around the table.
I was going to say, I don't know. Maybe it's cliche, but we're an empowerment company.
I love that. That's good.
We empower people through job searches, through LinkedIn, through content creators on LinkedIn. We empower people through the cloud for, compute, audio, visual processing. We empower people through Teams, collaborate. So we're an empowerment company, and I would say we empower security folks and security operations teams. So with any product or thing that we're trying to design, how are we trying to empower that security analyst or that security operator or that threat intelligence person that's using our products, right? Or using other products in combination with products. So I think we're just an empowerment team. That's kind of how I think about it. But yeah, fundamentally, we think about there. Traditionally, we did pivot from the data center to the cloud era. And so a lot of our empowerment solutions are built, cloud agnostic, if you will. I'm just making up terms left and right, but cloud agnostic, right? It's a platform, it's SaaS, it's PaaS.
This is like a marketing brainstorm session is what this is.
What about Ingrid?
I am around the same line, but to me, it's more a risk, right? Security is a risk within the cloud, as well as compliance is another risk, and we can talk to so many others. I see Microsoft, and I think that was in one of my interview answers too. I see Microsoft as the risk mitigator. Whatever problem there is, whatever risk there is, we got to make something work through technology to mitigate. So it does not matter what area we're talking about, even finance, operations, security, technology, whatever. That's what I believe Microsoft is, right? So I'm along with with Santa verse here, where we are empowered to mitigate risk, and now in the cloud, right? So love it.
Yeah, I'm going to stay true to the question, and I'm going to give a qualifying answer. A qualifying context to it. Microsoft is a cloud company. Because our biggest competitors, as far as revenue, are the other cloud competitors, not security. No matter how much we boast and how much we sell in security, the cloud is the thing. Okay, so we're a cloud company. Security sets us apart from the other competitors.
Yep,
that's what it is. Okay. Oh, a cloud is a cloud is a cloud. It is, right? But our security, because of who we are and what we do and how we go about it, is what makes us different from other cloud companies. And if you had asked me this 10, 15 years ago, if you'd asked me 10 years ago, I would have told you that Microsoft is a software company, right? And if you asked me, prior to that, I would have told, well, they were a collaboration. You know, I was talking to someone about how did Microsoft get here? Was it luck? Was it skill? Was it vision? It was more of, I want to win this particular vertical and industry and dominate everybody else. And that is not speculation. Microsoft has had some monopoly issues and, you know, antitrust. But who would have thunk it that email would have been the thing that set us off and made it so hard that everyone can't catch up? 85% of the world uses 365, right? And so when they evolved from that, remember the Microsoft, I forgot what they called the original graph. Was it called the Office graph or something? It was something back. How does it evolve into, the Microsoft graph, or not in the Microsoft security graph? But when you take it back and not have all these huge, big thinking MBA economists, business strategies, CIO, CEO level conversation, man, it was email and the desktop, right? Two things that they dominated that market, and now they're doing well. And the market that they didn't dominate, it may be the downfall of the other company. They didn't dominate the browser, right? And so now Google dominates the browser. But if you ask people, what does Google do? How do they make money? It's still selling ads. Ask Facebook how that's working out for them, right? You know, ask all these places how that's working out for them. So we are a cloud company that differentiates and set ourselves above everyone else because of the security commitment that we have to have. It is not a choice. You have to have it. And I still hold to my inks. I said this 6 years ago, and I said, I'll say it now. So I got 4 years left. I said in 10 years, there will be a catastrophic cloud something happen that's going to affect every cloud, and it's really going to disrupt the industry, and meaning a super bad breach. I mean, make Heartbleed and Spectre seem like, oh, I just had an itch, right? Something's coming. But I think out of all the clouds, we may be more prepared than any to be able to remediate that because of the signals that Microsoft gets in. Because I'll tell you, I saw the SolarWinds stuff before it was announced. We did not know what it was at a customer. MCAS caught it, and I talked about it on the podcast. I was at they called me in. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm seeing. And then next thing you know, FireEye makes an announcement, and sure enough, this customer had this in their environment, and MCAS was seeing all this crazy behavior. And I was like, sir, I see it. I don't know what's going on with it, right? So, cloud company that differentiates by making us the best security cloud company in the world. You know, AWS is not going to get it. I don't know if they have the stomach for it. And I don't want to badmouth anybody's place of employ, but Google think this is a hobby. You keep playing with Chronicle, you go do your thing. You think this is a hobby, right? So shout out for those who will commit to it, even if you don't see the revenue in the very front end. You do the good stuff, and the revenue will come. Easy for me to say. I don't employ 100,000 people, right? So there you go.
Good points, Ed. Good points. That's fair. That's fair. I'm sticking with my answer, security, because we have security capabilities built into everything, regardless if it's cloud, on-prem, in your pocket, in your car, regardless, right? So yeah, primary business, cloud, but the cloud enables our leading edge security solutions, regardless of where you end up protecting the thing or the things. So it's and I'm such a security nerd that obviously I was going to answer that first. So Vishal kind of set me up there. You're right, Ed. Like where we came from on productivity, where Microsoft came from. I tell this to new aspirers when they join consulting. I'm like, yeah, well, like Microsoft, like it was not the security leader back in the day, right? We'd see antitrust lawsuits. We'd see pies in the face of Mr. Gates. You know, it was Windows was wide open. And so it's come a long way, and there was a direction change a while back. And I know Satya talks about it in his book, where there was just like a memo. It's like security is going to be the priority moving forward, and the cloud enables that absolutely. And it's the reason why we'll probably have the majority of our great employments here is because of the cloud. I still think we crush it on security, and I think we're just due for more greatness ahead. And I love your resiliency, Edward. I do think we probably have a high resiliency tolerance for a massive event, right, that may or may not occur in the future. I absolutely agree with you on that.
So let me. One of the great things about having different perspectives is that I gave my answer, but your answer is correct too. So I'm going to flip my ball over my head, and I'm going to give you the Brodie side. Here it goes.
The Brodie
You
side.
want to know? You want to know how significant Microsoft is as far as security? How many other cloud companies can spin off? If Microsoft decided to spin off everything that they do in security to another company, it still would be the largest security company in the world. If you split the cloud and the desktop and collaboration away and say that's a wholly different whatever, we have Microsoft Security, MSFTS, and all they did is security stuff. You still are going to have one of the most dominant and powerful companies out there. How many other security companies or cloud can say, oh yeah, we can spin our security business off and it'll be sufficient?
Well, I guess Google now because the Mandiant acquisition, but that's kind of not fair. But anyway, yes, I know what you mean, Edward. Yeah, absolutely.
They don't have identity. Their native cloud security stuff is
yeah, Brodie's just being nice.
I appreciate all of that in the market, though. It's good. It's good that they're getting into security. I mean, we're not going to be who we are unless they continue to challenge us. They continue to innovate us. Google had an identity announcement this last week. They just moved a whole bunch of frontline users onto Office 365 in the U.S. Army, right? Like it was like 20,000 users. I mean, they're doing a lot in the market, and I honestly kind of respect it. Like I respect the fact that they're looking to drive that, because if they're not, then there's still unprotected users and people that aren't able to take advantage of the cloud in general. And I'm grateful that we have technologies like Microsoft Defender for Cloud and Sentinel and other things that we can leverage to help them protect, their investments in cross cloud. But it's really good that they're doing it. Like I have no issues with them, like investing, money into the security.
You don't want to see someone fail at security.
You don't want to see it. You can.
And I think the risk, though, is sure, it's an iterative process and it's a journey, but sometimes users think they're secure, or maybe they are like, hey, let me look at Chronicle instead of Sentinel because it's a great threat hunting landscape, but there's zero analytics on it for me to even be proactive about my alerts, or wow, I have identity, but it's really subpar, or so there's a risk in thinking you're secure when you're not secure as well.
Would you think though there's a journey though? Like, I mean, there's a maturation journey as well, right? They think maybe SIM-source, that's all there is. Maybe all they need is that. They don't understand the bring your own threat analytics, right? They don't understand the GUI behind it. And eventually they will, right? I mean, but the fact that they are taking steps to actually adopt some of those things, and then they see, and then they learn by doing. I think that's there's a lot of value there in them doing that.
And Microsoft has always had a startup-ish mentality of a sort. Not as much as they did earlier, but when you look at Microsoft, they were spread thin.
Yeah,
they were really a generalist, right? Because when I first saw Active Directory, I was like, "What is this garbage?" Right? Because I came from Novell. I was an NDS guy. I said, what is this? Right?
What are these words you're saying?
Oh my God, it was horrible. Right? And I came from Novell. I was doing this stuff, right? And I'm like, so you've seen Active Directory take its lumps, right? But the lumps need to be taken. And now, Azure AD, just like email, it's the most dominant cloud,
platform,
identity and authentication framework of fabric in the world. Who would have thunk it that it went to email?
Well, and Shell's got it. Like in the end, that's what makes being a security professional so awesome, is because we have co-opetition. That's not my word. That's Kelly Bissell said that on an internal meeting recently. He's echoed what you said, Vishal. We've got to work with the other partners out there, even if there are, I just lost the word, our competitors, right? We all have a common mission to work towards.
He's amazing, by the way. He's amazing, right? Like
I can't wait to meet him. I'm going to move to the security service line in January from the Canadian, and he's going to be my skip. I want to have a meeting with him. He's unbelievable. I love listening to him online.
when you
You guys
need
need to
it.
get him on the pod because you guys are
We need
fanboying
to
over
get him
here.
on the pod. He's amazing. He's one of the cool perspectives he brings. I mean, like I know he's about to have a meeting, I think, with Protivity, right? Like amazing compliance partner, part of the Robert Half company, right? But like coming from the Accenture side of the house, like Kelly understands it. Like you have to have the competitive nature, you have to have the cooperation, but at the end of the day, the platform and what we have is amazing. And how do we bring that together, right? And I think that's his thing. Like he thinks like that. He's not looking to just engineer the next solution. He's looking to figure out what's in the market and how to bring that together through like a consolidated like services solution. So I love that. Yeah.
Well, everyone, not to rush everybody off, I don't know if you guys hear the Sawzall and attack knocking my door. My wife is dinner time. She's a savage, right? But the winner of the best Santa costume is Michelle. Yay!
I would say so. I looked. I spent like 10 minutes trying to find that exact outfit so I could supply some people with a link. They could get the Michelle, but
So
I couldn't find it. That's a one of a kind, man. You need
So
to.
that's what you win.
You need to
I was cleaning out my house because I do this over the holiday.
That's
You win this.
Oh, get out. I'll frame that.
That's the ultimate version.
Oh, still, I don't think I taken out the
Great
box. I found it.
version.
Don't take it out of the box. Ooh, look at that.
Oh.
Shiny.
Well, now.
Ah,
Well, now.
Do you have anything that can read a disc? That's the real
Yeah,
question.
no doubt.
Yeah.
I do have it.
I'm gonna leave it in its virgin state. I'll mail it to you, and you need to come back on the show if you tell me you can get this to install.
I don't think it's in its virgin state anymore. You at least went to first base with it, taking it out of it.
Oh, you can always re-virgin. I've been a virgin several times over. You know, it just
This
happens.
has been so much fun. Great to meet
Same.
you guys and see you guys again. Amazing. Thanks for letting me drop on the show.
Oh,
You can always come back. Michelle.
everybody on this show is welcome to come back. We would love to have Nathan has done it a couple of times to come on as a guest host when some of us can't be here. Big shout out to Frank Grimberg, co-creator of it. Talked to him today. Him and I have a little contest tomorrow. For those who have not played Who Hacked, he wants to figure out if I can solve it, the first one, and then figure out where his name is hidden. And then a big shout out to Andrea Fisher, who is our permanent host. She joined us a couple of shows back. She couldn't be here today because of family stuff. Family stuff, right? I want everybody to have a happy, safe, warm. It's going to be cold here in Georgia starting tomorrow.
Oh boy,
So-
you don't know cold.
Well, I don't, and I don't want to know cold. I don't want to know it.
Yeah, you could
We're
keep that up
hitting
there with
digits,
you, Brodie.
Single digits tomorrow, which
Single-
is
oh.
negative Celsius.
Minus 35 right now. Not a big deal. Yeah. Ingrid's eyebrows just went to the ceiling. Yeah.
Whatever.
What is cold for Ingrid? That's what I want to know. Different
I'm in
perspective.
Florida, so but it's gonna get cold too.
Yeah. And Michelle, because you did give me your address and you came on the show, your little gift will be in the mail.
Woo-hoo. Cool.
Yep, we got it right here.
All right.
And so, anybody else?
Are you showing everyone my address or what?
No, I didn't show anybody your address. They
He
can't
just
see.
knocked you. Wow, that's
Zoom
great.
in.
You got
Thank you,
docked.
everybody.
You
This has
got
been
docked.
awesome. This has been
So this is our last show of the year. Appreciate everybody being on here. This is awesome. We're gonna skip next week. We're gonna come back on fire in January. We have a lot of really good jaw-dropping. Not that you all aren't jaw-dropping guests, but we have some folks coming on next year that's just
We're
gonna
second rate.
blow some folks' mind.
JD
Oh.
swap.
Michelle thinks highly of herself. She said second. I was more like,
Great entertainment.
She's on every
Right now.
episode.
Third tier.
yeah. Hey, we got to get Noodle McToodles to come on and host a show one day.
We should.
We'll have all kinds of amazing guests in the new year, like Rod said.
Oh, yeah.
We got jaw droppers. We got surprise guests.
So we already know about Ann
all
Johnson, right? There's a couple other people. There's Women in Cybersecurity is the month of March, and we have
Yes.
some really cool folks coming on. So.
I
Oh,
wanna
are
be
you
a part of
going to be
that.
back on?
That'd be
Cool.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know, March is really Women's in Cybersecurity Month, but we made it up. So we're going to have all female thing. We might need to do more than 4 shows that month. We might need to do like 6.
It's a 5-week
That-
month, so that works out, Edward. Yeah.
There is a stereotype that women talk a lot, but I think Ed wins
Yeah.
that. But
I think
We're busy
Ed.
the
I
whole
think
month.
Ed shattered that stereotype.
Well, yeah, you keep talking, they'll just let you go. That's what I found out. Sir, here's your license. Just go. Just
Yeah.
go. Thank you, officer. I'm good. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Nathan, I owe you a conversation. So if you're free tomorrow, you and I'll finish what we talked about.
Yeah, definitely.
Then we'll do that.
Thanks,
Merry
Ingrid.
Christmas.
Thanks,
Thank
Shell.
you.
Thanks,
Happy
Michelle.
Hanukkah.
Yes.
Brodie,
All
your
the
stuff's
other
in the
stuff.
mail.
Happy New Year.
Yeah. I had to go into the
Thanks,
office.
Wow.
Ingrid, hit me up on Teams and tomorrow, and I'll send you a Santa Clausy gift too.
Oh, thank
Of the
you.
show. All right.
Thank you for having me. Great to see and speak with everyone. We got to do this again soon.
Actually, make it this. Everybody on the show, hit me up on Teams tomorrow and say, "Hey, where's my,
I'm not gonna
my
do
Chris
it.
Kringle gift?" And I'll send you something nice. I'll tell you the details. I'll send you something really cool.
I'm not gonna
I
do
hope
it.
I hope it's a Windows ME disk.
Right.
I have one, and you can't get away from it, Rod. I put your stuff back in the mail today, the right size.
Yeah,
So
it'll
you-
blow up on my front porch.
It'll freeze on your front porch.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah. All right, everybody got to get going.
All right, peace.
Take care.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Peace.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Bye.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Oh.